Since their last title run in 2008, there's been a couple of times the Celtics were in this position, in a conference finals, sniffing that scent familiar only to true title contenders. They came up short in the 2010 NBA Finals due to injuries and the late, great Kobe Bryant, accentuated with a kiss from Metta World Peace. They came up short again in 2018, courtesy of LeBron James, despite pushing the Cavaliers to a Game 7 without the services of Kyrie Irving. But here they are again, knocking at the door after blowing 3 double-digit leads, after losing a buzzer beater to Toronto, hell-bent on reminding the basketball world that champions are synonymous with a Boston franchise that already has 17 on its resume. There's a problem, though. It was supposed to be in the form of Jimmy Butler, Miami's new leader. But Goran Dragic, who dropped 29 in Game 1, says, hey, excuse me, Kemba Walker isn't the only point guard in this series y'all need to be talking about. And obviously, there's a sensational block by Bam Adebayo, putting the Celtics on notice that there will be no uncontested layup or dunk lines in this series if he has anything to say about it. Begging this simple question for the Celtics. You're down 1-0 in this series. You can't afford to be down 2-0. So what you gonna do about it? We're waiting. The Boston Celtics have taken some tough losses this postseason. They've already blown 3 double-digit leads, including a 14-point lead in Game 1 against Miami. Only the Clippers have blown more double-digit leads this postseason. Entering Game 2, Boston already has 3 losses either at the buzzer or in overtime in the playoffs. They've lost each of those matchups by a combined 7 points. If Boston is able to reach the NBA Finals, they would join the 2009 Orlando Magic as the only team in the last 20 years to get there after losing multiple playoff games at the buzzer or in overtime. We bring in my man Mike Wilbon, PTI fame. Mike Wilbon, let's get right to it. This is a team I believe you have picked to win this series and advance to the NBA Finals. Talk to me about your thoughts on Boston following Game 1.
Well, Stephen A., don't we have to start with Kemba Walker? I mean, we've referred to him. You referred to him already. I mean, you look at some of these numbers. I'm going to go to the glasses, as my friend Tony would say.
I got mine.
Last 3 games, 13 for 46 from the floor. That's 28%. I'm no math major, but I know enough. The last 5 games, 5 for 34 from 3. 14%, Stephen A. And it's not like his problems are limited to one end of the floor. He's allowing the guys he's guarding to shoot 52% overall and 56% from 3. So Kemba's been a problem both ways. I don't know if this is something that he's just in a slump. Can he pull out of it? Is it that simple? Is he having trouble being usually the smallest guy on the floor, dealing with, one opponent after another, now Miami?
But doesn't Marcus Smart somewhat make up for that, the way that he's been playing? I know the guy can play defense, but I have never seen Marcus Smart shoot this effectively.
No, especially
dropped 6 3-pointers last game.
Yes, but they need Kemba. Look, they're an ensemble. I know Jason Tatum is a guy who is now, for a lot of people, I don't know where you voted for him, but he's no worse than a second-team All-NBA player. I get that. But we're not talking about an iconic Celtic yet. He may become that. We're not talking about Russell. We're not talking about Bird. We're not even talking about Paul Pierce. He hasn't established himself to that degree, Stephen. So I think they need all of those guys. Yes, Jason Tatum with a, 30-point, 14-rebound game. I know he got rejected. I know he got rejected.
Yes.
But he still had a great Game 1. I didn't like selling for that long 3 at the end of regulation. Still, great player. Is he with those other iconic Celtics? Not yet. And while he's en route to getting there, they got to have everybody, including Kemba, play well to get this series.
2 quick answers to these questions. Is Gordon Hayward needed back, A? And B, is Game 2 a must-win for the Boston Celtics?
It's not a must-win. It's a nice win. It's a needed win. And in terms of Gordon Hayward, look, they've won. They've advanced without him. I think you're going to see them be cautious with him, Stephen A. I think we're looking at a Game 3 or Game 4 usage for Gordon Hayward off the bench, where he can help them. Look, you can still get in foul trouble. You can still have somebody turn an ankle. You can still have somebody in a slump. And that way you can plug him in wherever you need him.
Stay right there. We're coming right back to you. You and that dapper tie. If I bite it, don't get mad at me. I like the tie. I really do. Jimmy Butler hit the biggest baskets for Miami in Game 1 with the Heat down 2 in the 4th quarter. His 3-pointer with 22 seconds left gave Miami the lead. Then with the Heat down 1 in overtime, his and 1 over Jason Tatum gave Miami the lead for good. Here's Butler on executing late in games.
I don't think it's just execution. I think we're in really, really, really good shape. you know, mentally, and whenever you're not tired physically, you can concentrate. You can remember plays. You can do this and you can do that. We pride ourselves on that, and I think as of late, we have been playing great basketball late. Now, we just got to do it for the entire game. We've yet to do that.
Back with Michael Wilbon right here. There's an individual that happens to be your favorite player in the entire NBA. His name is not LeBron James. His name is not Kawhi Leonard. His name is not even James Harden or the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. Who is your favorite player in the NBA and why?
Has been Jimmy Butler for several years. And part of this is the Chicago tie, but part of that is the toughness in which he plays all the time, both ways. There are so many guys, Stephen A., as you know, who can score 28, 35, 40 points in a game, yet they don't have the impact of Jimmy Butler in a 22-point game. I think it was just 20 in that last game, because it's both ends of the floor. When he made that last and one, did you see the way his players responded to him and the way he did to them? There's a stat I do care about.
Sure.
Jimmy Butler against LeBron James, regular season and postseason, head-to-head matchups in these cases, 17 and 17. If we go through the league, there's not going to be that many players in either conference in this time. So if guys in this generation who can claim a 500 or better record, I'm not talking about guys in a different conference. Jimmy Butler and LeBron have been a lot of that time in the same conference. 17 and 17 is his record against LeBron, which says plenty to me, much more than scoring averages and shooting percentages and what Jimmy Butler's doing from three, because so much of it is when he does it as well.
Well, guess what? They can end up meeting in the finals for all we know, Miami against L.A., which would make me incredibly sad since we'll be stuck in studio as opposed to in one of those cities because they're in the bubble instead of Miami and L.A. But that's a different story for another day. When you look at the Miami Heat, if they were to get to the NBA Finals, the name Goran Dragic has to come up. He dropped 29 in Game 1. We've been talking about Tyler Hero. We've been talking about Duncan Robinson. We've been talking about Bam Adebayo. How underrated is Goran Dragic at this point in time?
Forget he's been around so long. He hasn't been in many huge late series playoff games, but there's enough experience, and there's always been a certain calmness about him. Not only that, look, there is some experience. Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, of course, Jimmy Butler, UD if he plays, not much. But Dragic is really important to that because on the other end, Stephen A., when you got Duncan Robinson, Bam, Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, you're talking about no or next to none when it comes to playoff experience at all for those guys. And Dragic can calm that down. It means you don't have to have Jimmy Butler on the ball. There's a toughness. It gives Coach Spo some flexibility and versatility with that lineup. I don't know that you're always going to get that many points out of him, but you don't need to. There are other ways he contributes all the time.
You know what that means? It just elevates your point initially about Kemba Walker, because with Goran Dragic playing the way that he plays, it puts even more pressure on Kemba Walker to perform. Stay tuned. We'll talk about that as the show progresses. With the Heat chasing their 4th NBA title in franchise history, hear how Miami's winning culture and championship DNA is driving this playoff run. And stand by for my interview with Damian Lillard. The Blazers superstar weighs in on